This has some Celtics fans frustrated, as Neemias Queta, who was dominant in that Celtics Western road trip in December, hasn't really been seeing the light of playing time in recent games due to the improvements of the bench in Oshae Brissett and Luke Kornet. We'll be diving in, looking at the bench rotation, and looking at why those guys have really shined over Neemias Queta, and how Neemias Queta has kind of fallen out of this rotation for this Boston Celtics front court. All of that and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz. But before we get into any Boston Celtics coverage, I would like to say that roughly right around 80% of our viewers are not subscribed, and would greatly appreciate it if you guys hit that big old red subscribe button and join the Celtics Digest family. We're getting closer and closer to our goal of 4,000 subscribers. We recently just hit 3,000 thanks to everyone here. So if you want to make sure you stay up to date on daily Boston Celtics content and coverage, hit that subscribe button, as you definitely will not regret it. But let's dive into this Boston Celtics news at hand today. So make sure to grab a snack, as today is going to be a jam-packed episode as we dive in looking at the Celtics bench pieces stepping up. And like I mentioned in the intro, Neemias Queta, who was dominant on the Celtics road trip in LA due to their front court injuries, has really not been able to get some rotational minutes with the Celtics team in a lot of recent games. He's been playing here or there, but Luke Kornet has realistically outplayed Neemias Queta in one aspect, and that is not fouling. Neemias Queta seems to have a problem with foul trouble, and even though it does look like he goes straight up, he doesn't get his feet sometimes, and it is what drives him out of these games. A center like Luke Kornet has been able to do that, and even though Neemias Queta brings a lot of energy on the offensive rebounds, guys like Luke Kornet and Oshae Brissett have been able to prove that for the Boston Celtics in recent games in this rotation to kind of take over from Neemias Queta. Obviously, those back-to-back double-doubles in Los Angeles and on that California road trip were fantastic to see, but it's looking like Neemias Queta might be slotted at this third big, unfortunately, for the Boston Celtics, or he might still be on this two-way deal. We'll have to wait and see what the Celtics do at the trade deadline, but let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions on Neemias Queta in the comment section down below. I still think he can be a great piece for the Celtics team, but it's just unfortunate for the Boston Celtics that he's just kind of fallen out due to the other bench pieces improving. And that's what we're going to be looking at today, looking at the improvements of Oshae Brissett and Luke Kornet. First, we're going to be diving in on Oshae Brissett, a guy from Syracuse who I really liked coming into the NBA and has been a big energy guy for the Boston Celtics bench. Obviously, if we look at his stats this season, they're not the greatest because he doesn't have the biggest role on the Boston Celtics, but shooting 46% from the field, 30% from 3, and 68% from free throw, averaging right around 3 rebounds, 0.7 assists, 0.1 block, 0.5 steals, and 4.2 points is Oshae Brissett in right around 12 minutes. Now, Oshae Brissett, I'm not going to lie, has been a kind of a work in progress with the Boston Celtics. In his first couple games, he was kind of shown as a nice energy piece and was, thrown in here or there with Lamar Stevens, but Joe Mazzulla wasn't really utilizing him. Then with some front court depth issues in the mid-month of December and January with, Al Horford dealing with his rest on back-to-backs, Kristaps Porzingis nurturing his injuries, and Luke Kornet getting that adductor strain, it was shown that Brissett, Stevens, and Queta would have to improve. And a guy like Brissett has really shined in the late month of December and now this whole month of January. If we want to look at Oshae Brissett's stats, as you guys can see, there's nothing too thrilling about them, but he's been very consistent for this Boston Celtics team in this last month, improving in those stats. His three-point shot isn't the greatest, but his field goal percentage is alright for the minutes he's played. In 3 games of this month, he's played less than 10 minutes, but in a majority of these games, he's played roughly around 15 minutes for the Boston Celtics, as he's been an impact piece off the bench. His free throw percentage isn't the greatest either, but when he gets fouled, he will go to the rack and make some shots. But the one thing that I want to describe about him is his energy and his hustle. You can see that in his rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals. He's an all-do-it guy, and he's been great for the Celtics at that power forward position. Personally, I thought Jordan Walsh would kind of be this guy for the Boston Celtics, but with a little bit of inexperience, he's been relegated to the G League and been excelling there for the main Celtics. Now, Oshae Brissett and Lamar Stevens have been kind of fighting for that backup 4 role, and even Brad Stevens has said that the Celtics might go out and get another big-time wing with this Grant Williams TPE. He said that it could be a guy in the system already that's got to improve, or it could be a guy that the Celtics could go out and get. Obviously, the Celtics, wanting to keep their guys. Oshae Brissett has kind of fought into that role, broken into that role for the Celtics this season, and has kind of looked at that, energy piece, rebounder, a guy who's going to make all the hustle plays, set good picks, and if he can stretch and hit that 3 for the Celtics, it could be big-time things in the clutch. Honestly, I don't know what the Celtics would do. I really, really like Oshae Brissett and what he's brought into this rotation, and I think he could be an impact piece going into the playoffs. But let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions on Oshae Brissett as well. He's been really, really generating greatly with this team on the playing side and as a teammate. We want to look at this. This is a screenshot from an article following the Sacramento Kings game where Oshae Brissett captured 4 questions to some of his teammates, to Jaylen Brown and to Derrick White, where he asked, were you driving down the lane and you see an opening? What's going through your mind? To Jaylen Brown, nothing at all. If I see somebody step up, it's to make the read, but if not, I'm just thinking of finishing. And then he asked who your next victim was. Brown finished this quote off by, I'm not Jeffrey Dahmer, but kind of just some funny stuff. It was just cool to see, Oshae Brissett kind of gelling with this team, kind of having a Grant Williams-esque, Josh Richardson, play style where he's just joking around, having fun, interviewing his teammates after a nice impact win for his Brizzy Files YouTube channel. It's really cool to see these impactful things from Oshae Brissett and just to see him binding into this Celtics culture and getting with the team. We also want to explore and talk about Luke Kornet, as he's been a big piece for the Celtics team as well as the backup big. This season he's averaging, 70% from the field, around 88% from free throw, with, averaging 1 more rebound in his career, around 4, 0.9 assists, 1 block, 0.4 steals, and 4.9 points. Now, Luke Kornet at the beginning of the season, I will be honest with you, I wasn't really a big fan of. I thought that he was a very good third center for the Boston Celtics, and I didn't know what he could bring to this team. But in recent games, like with Oshae Brissett, he's really cemented himself into this bench lineup. Obviously, Joe Mazzulla has stated that he's going to stick with Luke Kornet as the backup big and has stated that multiple times. But with obviously some injuries to Luke Kornet, some other guys got the shine. Now that Luke Kornet has been back, though, for the Boston Celtics, he has been impactful, playing in almost every game in the month of January and having some impactful minutes as well, like Oshae Brissett. As you guys can see, in only one of these games, he had less than 10 points. So he's being brought off the bench very early on and being brought out as, in fact, the bench backup big. Field goal percentage, he's finishing around the rim a lot better than Neemias Queta is as well, which is a big bonus. The Celtics are able to play the ball to Luke Kornet in the post, throw him some lobs, do some of that. With Neemias Queta, they were able to throw the lobs, but Neemias Queta didn't have the best finishing at the rim or controlling the ball at the rim compared to Luke Kornet. Luke Kornet has also been very, very solid on the defensive side of the ball and helping out the Boston Celtics in the rebounds. If you guys want to look at Luke Kornet's block category on the stat, you guys can see 1 block, 3 block, 0 block, 3 block, 1 block, 1 block. He's contributing in most games, registering a block for the Boston Celtics, which is huge, and being very impactful on that offensive rebound. The Boston Celtics, like I mentioned, losing Robert Williams, don't have a true impact offensive rebounder. Guys like Neemias Queta, who have shown some energy, and even Oshae Brissett and Luke Kornet have looked like the solution to that offensive rebounding to a little bit and have helped out the Boston Celtics in that regard. I really, really like what I've seen out of Luke Kornet in recent games, and I'm kind of warming up to the fact that he could be the backup center for this Boston Celtics team. I want to know your guys' thoughts and opinions as well in the comments, so make sure to fire them away. But personally, because of this rotation and how it's been playing, I do expect to see the bright spots of Oshae Brissett and Luke Kornet to be, pushed throughout the season as we get closer and closer to this deadline, as the Celtics try to figure out who's that last impact piece that they might need to add. Since they have that Grant Williams TPE, they can go out and get a guy with $6.25 million in that contract, and I think that they will definitely try to explore someone to bring in as a third piece, maybe another wing, maybe another big, maybe another guard, just as a nice extra help or piece for the Celtics team. But I'm really, really liking what I've seen out of Oshae Brissett and liking what I've seen out of Luke Kornet on this bench rotation. Unfortunately for Neemias Queta, it means he's probably going to be in the G League or possibly being the third best big if he gets converted to a deal at the end of the season. But we'll have to wait and see. With the Celtics having some front court issues, we could always see Neemias Queta getting back in and having some impact moments if a guy like Luke Kornet, Oshae Brissett, or even Lamar Stevens is to go down. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of Celtics Digest, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.